Marcus Reid had been a tank commander for 8 years, but nothing prepared him for this moment. Through his thermal scope, he counted 20 enemy tanks moving to surround a medical convoy filled with wounded Americans. Standard tactics said retreat and request backup. But the nearest friendly armor was 4 hours away, and 250 Americans would be captured or killed long before help arrived. Marcus made the decision that would either save hundreds of lives or cost him everything. Driver, advance toward enemy contact. We're going in alone. The ultimate David versus Goliath battle was about to begin. In Iraq's western desert region, Staff Sergeant Marcus Reid's M1A2 Abrams tank, call sign Guardian 1, was conducting what intelligence had classified as a routine security patrol. The 70-ton armored beast, equipped with a 120mm smoothbore cannon, .50 caliber machine gun, and advanced composite armor systems, represented one of the most formidable weapons platforms in the modern military arsenal. Marcus had been commanding tanks for 8 years, and his current crew represented the culmination of months of intensive training and combat experience. His driver, Corporal David Johnson, was a 3-tour veteran who could maneuver the massive tank through terrain that would challenge most civilian vehicles. His gunner, Specialist Carlos Martinez, possessed an almost supernatural ability to acquire and engage targets at extreme ranges. His loader, Private First Class Kevin Williams, was young but possessed the speed and reliability that made him invaluable during sustained combat operations. The desert morning was deceptively peaceful as Guardian 1 moved across the sandy terrain, its tracks leaving deep impressions in the sand while its turbine engine created the distinctive whine that identified American armor to anyone within miles. The crew maintained professional alertness despite the routine nature of their mission, understanding that in Iraq, routine operations could become deadly encounters without warning. At 0647 hours, the tactical radio crackled with an urgent transmission that would transform their routine patrol into something far more significant. Guardian 1, this is Base Command. Medical Convoy 7 is requesting immediate escort support. Grid coordinates 31 SMT 12345-67890. Priority Alpha. Marcus consulted his digital map display, noting that the convoy was returning from a forward field hospital to the main operating base with a full complement of wounded personnel and medical staff. The route typically represented secure territory, but recent intelligence reports had indicated increased enemy activity in the sector. Copy that, Base Command. Guardian 1 is moving to provide escort support for Medical Convoy 7, Marcus responded, his voice carrying the professional calm that had been drilled into him during years of military service. As Guardian 1 approached the convoy's position, Marcus began monitoring the increasingly frequent radio transmissions between convoy vehicles. Major Elizabeth Phillips, the convoy commander and senior medical officer, sounded progressively more concerned with each communication. Guardian 1, this is Major Phillips. We're receiving intelligence reports of possible enemy activity in our sector. Can you provide us with your current position and estimated time to visual contact? Major, Guardian 1 is currently 2 kilometers south of your position and closing. We should have visual contact within 5 minutes, Marcus replied, scanning the horizon through his commander's periscope for any signs of the medical convoy. When Marcus finally spotted the convoy through his optics, he immediately understood the magnitude of what he was being asked to protect. 12 medical transport trucks, 4 ambulances, and 3 supply vehicles stretched across nearly a kilometer of desert terrain in a formation that prioritized medical care over defensive capability. Each vehicle contained wounded soldiers who had paid the price of combat, along with the medical personnel dedicated to saving their lives. The convoy was currently moving through the Zawiya Valley, a natural corridor that provided efficient transportation but also represented textbook ambush terrain. The narrow valley was flanked by elevated positions that would allow enemy forces to achieve tactical superiority over any vehicles moving through the depression. Marcus's advanced radar and thermal imaging systems began detecting the first contacts at 1542 hours. Initially, the signatures appeared as small blips on his display, but their numbers began multiplying with alarming speed. 3 contacts became 5, then 8, then more as enemy vehicles moved into positions along the ridgelines overlooking the valley. Marcus called to his gunner, "Bring all thermal systems online and maintain continuous scanning. I'm tracking multiple contacts surrounding our area of operations." "Copy that, Sergeant. I'm seeing significant movement on thermal imaging. Based on heat signatures and size profiles, these contacts appear to be armored vehicles, not infantry or light vehicles." Marcus felt his pulse quicken as the implications became clear. Armored vehicles in coordinated positions meant tanks, and tanks meant this was no longer a simple escort mission. This was becoming a major engagement against superior numbers. "Base Command, this is Guardian 1. I am reporting possible hostile armor contact surrounding Medical Convoy 7's current position. Request immediate extraction support and air cover." Guardian 1, Base Command copies your report. Air support is approximately 2 hours out due to weather conditions at forward airfields. Friendly armor reinforcement is minimum 4 hours due to current operational commitments. Marcus cursed under his breath. 2 to 4 hours might as well be eternity when facing an imminent armored engagement. If enemy forces initiated their attack, the medical convoy would be completely defenseless against tank cannon fire. At 1615 hours, enemy forces abandoned concealment and began their coordinated assault. From positions along both sides of the valley, T-72 main battle tanks emerged from camouflaged positions like predators revealing themselves to cornered prey. Marcus counted them methodically, his training taking over despite the growing horror of their situation. "Jesus Christ," whispered Private Williams, his voice barely audible over the intercom. "Sergeant, how many tanks are we looking at?" "I count 20 confirmed contacts," Martinez reported with professional precision despite the obvious stress in his voice. "All appear to be T-72 main battle tanks with full combat loads." 20 tanks. Marcus performed rapid tactical calculations in his head, drawing on years of training and combat experience. His single M1A2 Abrams against 20 T-72s represented odds that no military manual addressed because such scenarios were considered tactically impossible to survive. Major Phillips's increasingly panicked voice cut through the radio static. "Guardian 1. We are completely surrounded. I count at least 20 enemy tanks moving into attack positions around our convoy. We have no defensive capability against armor." Marcus assessed their tactical situation with the methodical precision that had kept him alive through multiple deployments. The medical convoy was trapped in the center of the valley with no available escape routes. Enemy forces controlled the high ground with overlapping fields of fire. Air support was hours away, and friendly reinforcement was even further out. Standard military protocol was unambiguous: withdraw to safe distance, establish communication with higher command, call for appropriate support, and preserve friendly forces for future operations. But following protocol meant abandoning 250 Americans to certain death or capture. "Johnson," Marcus said quietly to his driver, "turn us around. We're heading back toward the convoy." "Back toward the convoy, Sergeant? I thought our orders were to withdraw and call for air support." "Fuck the standard orders, Johnson. There are 250 Americans in that valley, and they're going to die if we don't do something." Marcus activated the intercom system to address his entire crew. "Listen up, everyone. The medical convoy contains 250 American personnel, 200 wounded soldiers and 50 medical staff including doctors, nurses, and medics. Enemy armor has achieved numerical superiority at a ratio of 20 to 1. Air support has a minimum response time of 2 hours." Loader Williams asked the question they were all thinking: "Sergeant, what exactly are we going to do against those odds?" Marcus took a deep breath before answering: "We're going to engage 20 enemy tanks and buy that convoy enough time to escape or for air support to arrive. We're going to do whatever it takes to make sure 250 Americans go home to their families." The crew fell silent as the implications of Marcus's decision became clear. They were about to voluntarily enter a combat engagement against overwhelming odds with virtually no chance of survival. "Sergeant," Martinez said quietly, "you understand this is essentially a suicide mission." "Maybe it is. But 250 Americans are counting on us to do our job, regardless of the odds." Johnson asked the question that was weighing on everyone's mind: "What about our own families, Sergeant? What about our wives and children?" Marcus thought about his wife Sarah and their 6-year-old daughter Emma waiting for him back in Texas. "We do this so that other families don't have to lose their fathers, sons, and husbands. We do this because it's the right thing to do." As Guardian 1 moved toward the valley at maximum speed, Marcus outlined his battle plan to his crew with the precision of someone who understood they had only one opportunity to get everything right. "Martinez, target priority is command vehicles first, then closest threats to the convoy. Johnson, keep us mobile at all times, hit and move tactics will be our only advantage. Williams, ammunition flow needs to be continuous and fast. We're going to be engaging multiple targets simultaneously." The crew acknowledged their orders with professional calm despite the extraordinary circumstances they were about to face. Each man understood his role in what was about to become one of the most uneven tank battles in modern military history. First enemy contact occurred at 1,631 hours. The leading T-72 spotted Guardian 1's approach and began traversing its main gun toward the American tank's position. "Contact front," Martinez called out with practiced precision. Single T-72 at 2,000 meters, hull down behind defensive position. "Engage target," Marcus ordered. Martinez's 120mm depleted uranium sabot round struck the T-72's turret with devastating effect, penetrating the Soviet-era armor and causing an internal explosion that destroyed the tank instantly. "Target destroyed," Williams shouted while simultaneously loading the next round into the main gun. But the destruction of one enemy tank immediately triggered response from the remaining 19. Enemy artillery shells began impacting around Guardian 1's position as the T-72s attempted to bracket the American tank with coordinated fire. The next 20 minutes represented the most intense combat experience of Marcus's military career. Guardian 1 maneuvered constantly while engaging multiple targets simultaneously, using superior technology and training to offset the overwhelming numerical disadvantage. Marcus's years of experience and the M1A2's advanced fire control systems provided significant advantages in target acquisition and engagement accuracy, but the sheer number of enemy tanks created a target-rich environment that threatened to overwhelm even the most sophisticated defensive systems. Second target, 1,800 meters. Marcus called out, identifying another T-72 that was maneuvering to achieve firing position on their flank. Martinez adjusted his aim with mechanical precision and destroyed the second enemy tank with another perfect shot. But enemy return fire was becoming increasingly accurate as the T-72 commanders learned Guardian 1's maneuvering patterns. Multiple shells impacted close enough to shower the American tank with debris and sand. "Johnson, execute evasive maneuvers immediately. They're getting our range." Johnson demonstrated exceptional driving skill by maneuvering the 70-ton tank through terrain that challenged its mechanical limits while maintaining enough stability for Martinez to continue engaging targets effectively. Marcus's desperate radio transmission reached Major Phillips just as enemy tanks began closing their encirclement. "Medical 6, this is Guardian 1. We are engaging enemy armor to create an escape corridor. Execute immediate extraction procedures. Move your convoy now. Guardian 1, we have critically wounded personnel who cannot withstand rapid movement. We need time to stabilize patients. Major, you have maybe 30 minutes before we're overwhelmed by superior numbers. Move your people immediately or they're all going to die." The medical convoy began its extraction under Guardian 1's covering fire, but evacuating 19 vehicles containing 250 personnel represented a time-consuming process that required careful coordination and medical attention to wounded soldiers who might not survive rapid transportation. Marcus realized with growing concern that he would need to hold his position longer than originally planned, buying additional time for the convoy to achieve safe distance from the kill zone. 25 minutes into the engagement, Guardian 1 had successfully destroyed 8 enemy tanks through superior gunnery and tactical positioning. However, the remaining 12 T-72s were adapting their tactics and coordinating increasingly effective attacks against the American tank's position. "Sergeant!" Williams shouted over the noise of incoming artillery, "We're running critically low on main gun ammunition. I count 12 rounds remaining." Marcus checked his ammunition inventory display and confirmed Williams's report. 12 rounds against 12 enemy tanks might seem adequate, but combat rarely provided perfect target acquisition opportunities. "Martinez, every single shot has to count from this point forward. We can't afford to waste ammunition on marginal targets." Enemy fire was becoming more accurate as the T-72 commanders learned to predict Guardian 1's movement patterns. The American tank's tracks had sustained damage that reduced its mobility significantly. "Johnson, how's our maneuverability?" "We can still move, Sergeant, but we're down to about 60% of normal speed. The left track is damaged but still functional." 30 minutes into the engagement, Guardian 1's situation had become critical. The tank was essentially immobilized due to track damage, main gun ammunition was nearly exhausted, and enemy tanks were closing in for final engagement at point-blank range. However, the medical convoy's evacuation was approximately 80% complete, with most vehicles having achieved safe distance from the immediate threat zone. Marcus faced the final decision of his military career: attempt withdrawal with his damaged tank, or maintain position to ensure complete convoy evacuation. "Crew, listen carefully. The medical convoy is almost clear, but they need a few more minutes to get everyone to safety. We can attempt to withdraw with our damaged systems, or we can finish the job we came here to do." Martinez responded immediately without hesitation: "We finish the job, Sergeant. Those people are depending on us." Johnson agreed with quiet determination: "Those medical personnel saved our brothers' lives. Now we save theirs." Williams added with surprising maturity for his young age: "Let's buy them the time they need. That's what we came here to do." 30 minutes into the engagement, Guardian 1's situation had become critical. The tank was essentially immobilized due to track damage, main gun ammunition was nearly exhausted, and enemy tanks were closing in for final engagement at point-blank range. However, the medical convoy's evacuation was approximately 80% complete, with most vehicles having achieved safe distance from the immediate threat zone. Marcus faced the final decision of his military career: attempt withdrawal with his damaged tank, or maintain position to ensure complete convoy evacuation. "Crew, listen carefully. The medical convoy is almost clear, but they need a few more minutes to get everyone to safety. We can attempt to withdraw with our damaged systems, or we can finish the job we came here to do." Martinez responded immediately without hesitation: "We finish the job, Sergeant. Those people are depending on us." Johnson agreed with quiet determination: "Those medical personnel saved our brothers' lives. Now we save theirs." Williams added with surprising maturity for his young age: "Let's buy them the time they need. That's what we came here to do." 35 minutes into what had seemed like a hopeless battle, an unexpected sound cut through the noise of combat: the distinctive roar of jet engines at low altitude. "Guardian 1, this is Falcon Flight. We are inbound with close air support. Mark your position with smoke." Air support had finally arrived, appearing like salvation from the sky just when the situation seemed most desperate. A-10 Thunderbolt aircraft, specifically designed for anti-tank operations, began devastating attacks against the remaining enemy tanks with their 30mm GAU-8 cannons and Hellfire missiles. Within 10 minutes, the remaining T-72s were either destroyed completely or forced to retreat from the engagement zone, ending the threat to both Guardian 1 and the medical convoy. When the battle finally ended, Guardian 1 was critically damaged but still operational, with its crew suffering minor injuries but remaining alive against all probability. Marcus's decision to engage superior numbers had resulted in survival through a combination of superior training, advanced technology, and what could only be described as miraculous timing. The medical convoy had been completely evacuated with 0 casualties, meaning that all 250 American personnel had reached safety. The final engagement tally showed 20 enemy tanks engaged, with 15 destroyed by Guardian 1's crew and 5 finished by air support. Marcus's tactical radio crackled with transmissions from higher command. Guardian 1, this is base command. Medical Convoy 7 reports successful evacuation of all personnel. Outstanding job, Sergeant Reid. Copy that, base command. Guardian 1 mission accomplished. But Marcus knew the real measure of their success wasn't found in enemy tanks destroyed or tactical objectives achieved. It was found in 250 Americans who would go home to their families because 4 tank crew members had chosen duty over safety. 1 week after the engagement, Marcus visited the medical personnel who had been in the convoy during the attack. The wounded soldiers and medical staff were recovering at the main base hospital, and their gratitude was overwhelming. Major Phillips expressed her appreciation with tears in her eyes. "Marcus, you and your crew saved 250 lives that day. Those wounded soldiers, doctors, nurses, and medics, they're all alive because you chose to fight against impossible odds." Wounded soldier Private Anderson, who had been in one of the medical trucks, spoke for many of his fellow patients. "Sergeant, we owe you our lives. My best friend was in that convoy. The medics were able to save him because you gave them time to evacuate safely. Without you, none of us would be here." Dr. Sarah Mitchell, one of the field surgeons in the convoy, explained the medical perspective. "Marcus, we had soldiers in those trucks who would have died if we hadn't gotten them to proper surgical facilities. Your actions didn't just save our lives, you saved the lives of patients who needed immediate medical attention." Marcus was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, the second highest military decoration for extraordinary heroism in combat. The award ceremony was attended by senior military leadership and representatives from the families of the personnel he had saved. During the ceremony, the commanding general spoke about the significance of Marcus's actions. Staff Sergeant Reid's decision to engage 20 enemy tanks with a single vehicle represents the finest traditions of armored warfare and personal sacrifice. His actions remind us why we serve and what we're willing to sacrifice for our fellow Americans. But Marcus was more proud of his crew's survival and the lives they had saved than any recognition he might receive. The medal represented acknowledgement of their sacrifice, but the real reward was knowing that 250 families would not receive death notifications because of their actions. Each member of Guardian 1's crew received significant military decorations for their actions during the engagement. Corporal Johnson received the Silver Star for his exceptional driving under fire. Specialist Martinez received the Bronze Star with Valor for his precise gunnery that destroyed 15 enemy tanks. Private Williams received the Army Commendation Medal with Valor for his performance under extreme combat conditions. More importantly, the crew remained together and continued serving as Guardian 1's team. Their shared experience had created bonds that would last throughout their military careers and beyond. When Marcus returned home on leave, his wife Sarah and daughter Emma met him at the airport with a celebration that reflected their understanding of how close they had come to losing him forever. Emma, with the directness that only children possess, asked, "Daddy, did you save people like you said you would?" Marcus knelt down to her level. "Yes, sweetheart. Daddy and his friends helped a lot of people who needed help very badly." Sarah, during a private moment later that evening, expressed both pride and concern. "Marcus, I'm incredibly proud of what you did and the lives you saved. But I'm also grateful beyond words that you came home to us." "Me too, Sarah. Every day I'm grateful that all of us made it through that fight." Over the following months, Marcus received dozens of letters from families of the personnel he had saved. Each letter told a personal story of gratitude and explained how the rescue had impacted entire families. One letter from the wife of a wounded soldier read, "Dear Sergeant Reid, my husband tells me that you saved his life and the lives of 249 other Americans. Our 3 children still have their father because of your courage. I wanted you to know that your sacrifice didn't just save one person, it saved our entire family." Another letter came from the parents of a young medic. "Our daughter called us crying after she heard about what you did. She said she never expected to see us again, and now she's coming home next month. We can never repay you for giving us our child back." These letters meant more to Marcus than any official recognition because they represented the human cost of military service and the personal impact of individual decisions made under extreme circumstances. Months later, as Marcus reflected on the events of that day, he began to understand the broader implications of their actions. A single tank engaging 20 enemy tanks had seemed mathematically impossible, but determination, superior training, and advanced technology had combined to achieve what tactics manuals considered unattainable. More importantly, Marcus learned that heroism isn't defined by fearlessness or superhuman ability. Instead, it's defined by ordinary people making extraordinary choices when others depend on their actions. The decision to engage superior numbers hadn't been made because he was unafraid, it had been made despite his fear, because 250 Americans needed someone to stand between them and certain death. Marcus also understood that their success hadn't been achieved individually. Johnson's exceptional driving, Martinez's precise gunnery, and Williams's rapid ammunition handling had all been essential to their survival and mission success. Heroism, he realized, was often a team effort that required everyone to perform beyond normal expectations. Marcus chose to remain in military service and continue commanding tanks, understanding that his experience made him more valuable as a leader and trainer. His story became part of armored warfare training curricula, not as an example of tactics to emulate, but as proof of what determined soldiers could accomplish when others depended on their performance. Guardian 1 was repaired and returned to service with the same crew, but their reputation preceded them throughout the armored community. Other tank crews began calling them the convoy guardians, soldiers who had proven that sometimes impossible odds could be overcome through courage, skill, and unbreakable commitment to protecting fellow Americans. Years later, when Marcus transitioned to civilian life, he carried lessons from that 35-minute engagement into every aspect of his daily routine. He understood that individual decisions could have far-reaching consequences, that teamwork could overcome seemingly impossible challenges, and that sometimes doing the right thing required risking everything you valued. The 250 personnel he had saved went on to live complete lives, raise families, build careers, and contribute to their communities in ways that multiplied the impact of his decision to fight. Children were born who would not have existed, marriages occurred that would have been prevented by death, and countless moments of human happiness occurred because 4 tank crew members refused to abandon their fellow Americans. Marcus's story became a testament to the power of individual courage, professional competence, and teamwork to overcome circumstances that exceeded normal human capability. His 35 minutes of combat proved that sometimes the most important battles are won not through superior numbers or advanced technology, but through determination and an unbreakable commitment to protecting those who cannot protect themselves, and that's Marcus Reid's Convoy Guardian story, the tank commander who saved 250 lives against 20-to-1 odds. Here at Last Signal Stories, we believe every soldier's final message deserves to be heard. If this story of courage, teamwork, and ultimate sacrifice moved you, hit subscribe for more military stories. Drop a comment below. Would you have made the same decision as Marcus? Until next time, stay tuned for the signal.